Hi, it's Joy and take me to watching Criminal Minds Evolution, Series 16, Episode 8, Forget-Me-Nots. Reminder that you can find the unedited version of these reactions on my Patreon 2 weeks in advance, edited version 1 week in advance, and then it goes on YouTube. And when I was getting it into place this time, I noticed that it hadn't gone to the next episode, and then I looked, and there is an end credit scene between, I believe, it looks like it's Penelope and Tyler, so I did miss that last time. I will start my reaction with that one, and then I'll go straight into the next episode. Let's go.
Everything all right, dear?
Yeah.
Were they making so much noise?
Bye-bye, Mrs. Samantha.
I mean, I guess she's normally a quiet neighbour, and this time she was quite noisy. I still have such mixed feelings about this relationship, given the situation they're in, and what on earth were they up to? Like, I know what they were up to, but why did they make that much mess? I just find their relationship, I'm so, like, I like them together. He seems to make Penelope happy, he doesn't seem to be a bad person, but then it could also help a serial killer go free, ultimately, and that's my main issue with it. Is she his wife murder surrogate?
Do you have kids?
I do. A boy and a girl.
Oh.
Two?
One is in the midst of...
No, that is above and beyond.
Seriously, that's what I do. Come on, you're gonna
He's so good at playing the nice guy.
Thank you.
I'm just worried he's also going to murder. I mean, as much as I... Oh, that face. And I really like this actor as well. As much as I do not want this woman to die, I've already accepted in my head she's been murdered. Like, she's walking right now, she's going to be murdered. I'm just hoping he's not also going to try and act out the murder of his children that he wants to do as well. I'm sorry.
To help me save my marriage. And then I'll spare your life.
Jesus Christ.
Okay?
I mean, there is absolutely zero chance of him sparing her life, but you have to just do it because, like, if there's a 0.01% chance the crazy man is gonna, I don't like, I need to try and like stop using ableist language, but that this psychotic person is going to free you, then you have to do everything you can in order to try and stay alive. Plus, if the police are looking for you, if people are looking for you, the longer you're alive, the more chance they have of finding you, even if it's a slim chance.
It says here that Cyrus took custody of his nephew, Lee Duvall, after the child's parents were killed in an apartment fire on 2nd Street.
Lee! 2nd Street, Lee! Henry, talk to your mum about whatever's going through that head of yours.
Is Dad okay? Like, really okay?
Kids overhear things.
If there's something else going on, I want to know.
There
So
isn't.
you're not just saying he's okay to make me feel better?
You just say we had a little scare, but he's okay, because that is what happened. I know you want to protect your baby. I am concerned that we're seeing so much of JJ's home life, because that is never a good sign in a show like this.
I would never treat anyone this way.
Thank you. Thank you.
This poor
Now
woman.
we're finally getting somewhere. So...
Like, this could be where he slips up, because it's more personal to him than ever. This isn't a neighbour that's annoyed him, a colleague, a co-worker, some guy who ran a red light in front of him or whatever. This is somebody that is representing his wife, so therefore he is even more emotive than he normally is. I really do feel like this is the case where he may slip up. But then I don't know if he's capable of slipping up.
Keep it a secret, but my brain... There's something wrong with me.
Yeah, you should turn yourself in, shouldn't you?
I've killed people, I've tortured them, and I liked it.
Does he actually think there's a world in which he could say this to his wife and she'd accept him?
Cops, the FBI. I really think I
Or is it more he role plays this, then in his head he can say he's been honest with his wife, he's had that conversation, tick, and then he can move on. Like, and be the husband she deserves.
You wouldn't leave me.
I'm not saying no strings attached. If you want me to trust you again...
She's trying so hard.
You'll have to earn it. Because you and I both know.
It's the truth.
Just kill her quickly. And maybe with her not knowing it's coming, if you have to kill her, please.
Because if it's not me, it'll be someone else who comes to hurt them.
Jesus Christ.
I'm completely safe.
This
How
is
are Andy
awful.
and Ari?
They're
I'll see you tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Yes.
You promise?
It's so awful as well because the catch in her voice and everything that he can hear, you would probably put down to like, oh, you know, she's even like if she's choosing to take a break and choosing to sort things out, that she's emotional about it. Like, this is horrible, and then he's making him doubt their marriage, and she's being kidnapped.
Take a look at the fire marshal's report on that fire.
Arson.
Just one problem. This case is officially closed.
Your call. What do you want to do?
What do they do? Have to
JJ
investigate.
and I will run interference with.
I know.
I follow the rules.
Yes.
He is using you for his own psychotic pleasures. Properly wheels up in the jet and everything.
Is a victim now.
Indio police just updated their missing persons report.
Yeah.
Ramona Havener called her husband. She has let the Indio police know that Ramona is in grave danger.
It's so hard, isn't it? Because, like, just going off that, how can you keep investigating? Obviously, with the BAU, they know the victimology, they know the Second Street, the Lee. There are things for them to go on. From the police, she called and she said she was fine. Like, I still feel like until the police officers get a visual on her, they should do some investigating into it. I mean, we have a lot. Sorry, I keep pausing. It's what I do. We have a lot of proof Sicarius is still active. Like, he's using the name Lee, Second Street. Like, all the other victims were Second Street or they had Lee. Like, if the FBI higher-ups get annoyed, we can be like, well, look at this blatant evidence that Sicarius is still active. It's not even like originally when you thought like he was going to go dormant again because they've been tracking him and he was going to like be scared and go dormant. He is actively hurting people. Can you really, for your own career, justify letting more people die? So when or maybe she's not going home and he's just given her. I mean, I keep thinking that he's gonna, because he keeps saying like, we'll see if you'll pick yourself over your family, we'll see it and all that kind of thing. If he's gonna kind of just, the police will assume this dude hurt her, not Sicarius, and it'll keep his under the radar thing going. Though his biggest weakness is that he keeps using his real name, Lee, as his cover name. Like, spice it up a bit, mate. Lee, John, James,
Sure
Paul.
this isn't an overreaction. The boss and a co-worker are out. They wouldn't call that late.
Family would.
Why wouldn't you want to talk to his wife?
Because she's getting in the way of his next murder.
Oh.
All right, do me a favor.
Oh.
Pull down the cell records.
Yeah, can we get a ping of
to that hardware store.
all the phones? Like, it'll be a lot.
All the missed
Mhm.
calls.
Tried to hang his grandmother in her backyard. He got sent away for second-degree attempted murder, served 3 years, got out on parole 5 years ago.
He tried to hang his grandmother and he got only 3 years in prison. Someone has a little bit of weed in their pocket and they're still in prison 10 years later. I mean, I don't actually know, but I know that like, these crimes are not proportionate. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna miss the whole thing.
Oh, if we can track, we know it's him. They might be able to save her, right? And then she'd have so much information on Lee. Yep. Taser could also help, you know. Dark on like a comic book, shoot him in the leg, I don't know, but that's what they're trained to do. Any sign of a threat? Can you work out where he's been? Any properties in his name or his family's name? Where he did his original crime?
Keel's grandparents had an industrial fabrication company. It went bust a couple years ago. Building was condemned last year. It's just sitting there all
Go.
spooky and empty.
Luke, Tara, go check it out.
Go. Just keep standing, they're coming. They're coming, I promise they're coming. There would be that part of me that would want it over quick rather than the long suffering. If I didn't think anyone was coming. It's like if I was in the Hunger Games, I would want to step off the plate in that first minute so that it blew me up. Unless I was afraid they would target my family because of it. Oh god.
Come on. Hey, here you go. There you go. Please.
Oh lord. I'm so glad she's alive. And I'm glad that she will have some information on, she can confirm that he has 2 children. She can confirm his face, but Surely this is proof the Sicarius case is still on. He took her to a shipping container. He matches, like, if she gives a sketch artist a sketch, it will match the bit of the face we can see in the other surveillance photo. He used Lee. He used 2nd Street. Surely the FBI has to reopen the case now. And they need to go into witness protection, this whole family.
Does she have to do that right now?
Oh,
we get a sketch out there.
has he scared her so badly that she won't say anything because he made it very clear he would come for her family?
Too sheltering.
They need to get her into witness protection.
It'll be someone else.
I mean, again, I know that, like, unless you're, most people would, like, I would hate to go into witness protection because, like, I have family, I have friends, I have a life, but, like, they'd be like, your family will be alive. Of course she did. As if she showed him the house and everything.
No, I didn't.
I don't blame her. She needs therapy and security.
What are you gonna go door to door?
That's right. Old school.
Jesus. I mean, it's a case worthy of going door to door.
Hey, who's Dr. Harvey?
I mean, you want to protect your kids as best you can, but when they start catching on, when they start hearing things, Henry is going to assume far worse than if you just tell him the situation.
I'm fine. Since he has it out for the FBI, how do you know we're safe?
Sweetheart.
Has it out for the FBI?
He actually warned us he's not out for the
By the way,
FBI. He's just out for
you guys
everyone
are
else.
terrible liars. Did you know you've tails?
Parenting is tricky, especially when you're an FBI agent. Does she even want him to come home at this point?
It's not fair, is it? The way I've been treating you.
No.
It's not.
The way you treat the world isn't fair.
Then why are you doing this?
She's a serial
Who
killer.
are you?
But I do know that I have a lot I need to tell you.
Oh, he's not actually
I know
going to
that I
tell her
can't
the
keep
truth.
secrets from you anymore.
Because she's not going to take it well.
Come home, please.
I mean, like, if anything, she needs to take it super well. Like, a little bit shocked and then take it well. And then the second he's not around, grab her kids, run to a police station, an FBI station, I don't know, you know, emigrate to a different country and then contact the FBI. Like, is it going to be Rossi?
Hello. I'm David Rossi with the FBI. May I ask you a few questions?
I mean, okay, are there any sneaky scenes? No, I mean, the last one was just a very silly, sneaky scene, but I wasn't expecting it to be there. Sicarius, yep, I thought he was going to go after somebody to represent his wife. I was concerned he would also go after children to represent his children, I guess. Even he doesn't stoop to child murder. We did find out about his parents, which is that he killed them. He set their apartment, house on fire and was gone, went to the park while it happened. Now, obviously, yes, there is a chance he just got scared and ran to the park or had already snuck out to the park before it happened, but it seems as though he did murder his parents. Perhaps these urges have always been in him. And if he had been sent to a different place, even into the foster system and state system, etc., yes, he probably would have continued to hurt people, but he might have actually got help. He might have been found out and might not have turned into the person he did today, but because he was handed to his serial killing uncle, he was taught how to be an even better serial killer and now has become the man he is. So in some ways, he's kind of, he isn't like, I mean, he's evil, I dislike him, and I want him in prison. I'm not saying I don't want any of those things, but it's interesting because he isn't somebody who has chosen in a way to do bad things. He kind of never had a chance, never had a choice. Both his brain and the man that raised him made him to be this way. So he's a very interesting character as a serial killer, which I like, because if he was just someone that was like, I don't know, even like the case of the week dude this time, just some weird little incel man, but like Sicarius's brain is wired wrong, and then being raised the way he was made sure it stayed that way. He's a very interesting person, and those times when he's remorseful towards his wife, I think there is genuine emotion there. I think he does love his family. I don't think he loves his family in the way the rest of us love our families. I don't think he's capable of that, but he thinks he does. Now, I still despise him and think he should have been in prison since he was 10 or whatever and kill his parents. The world would be a better place. He would be better off in some sort of institution, you know, where he was looked after and made sure he didn't hurt anyone. At this point now, I think he should be in like a supermax prison, but back then I think he should have gone to like some sort of place, considering his age. So he's just an interesting killer, which I like, because when you're following someone for this long, if he was just some little incel man, I mean, I would say it wouldn't be interesting, but you wouldn't be able to kind of delve into the psychology as much, because you'd be like, oh, it's a weird little incel man. Whereas at least with Sicarius, there is this kind of, what chance did he have? And you don't entirely know what he's going to do next, because while he is this ruthless, well-planned killer, he is also someone that is feeling emotions and is acting emotionally. You know, this killing, he slipped up. Now, a huge part of that is simply he slipped up by taking somebody while the BAU was still looking for him. Obviously, as far as he could tell, he looked online, the Sicarius case is closed, it was the senator's son, tick, done. As far as he's concerned, he's closed off that port of that avenue that no one's looking for him. He didn't know the BAU were going to be coming after him. Now, this is the point when he may switch into personally going after the BAU, personally taking vengeance against them, although given that his MO is very much to not personally go after people, but he goes after people that represent them, but he might get one of his minions to go after them. Again, I don't necessarily think he could or would want to take out the whole team, because that isn't a good look, and I think part of why he didn't want to go after the FBI is because if you kill a law enforcement person, they go after you far harder than if you kill an innocent civilian, which has never made any sense to me. I wonder whether he might go after Rossi. I mean, Rossi is the one that has come to his home, even, and I'm going to get to that, even if his wife is like, actually, I don't want to talk to you, or says, oh no, my husband's fine. No, he's never away for business. Actually, no, my husband doesn't fit. No, that's definitely not him in the picture. I don't know what you're talking about. Even if she, for some reason, defends him and doesn't agree with anything Rossi is doing, she will probably tell him Rossi has been, or he'll find out Rossi has been. Not to mention, we know that we saw when he was a kid or a teenager, he was reading Rossi's book. So he already has this connection with Rossi. I could see him potentially targeting Rossi. Then I have my concerns about JJ, because we're seeing so much of her family life and we're not following any of the others home. And I know we kind of are, like, we see Penelope on and off, but like, we didn't really see any Penelope this episode at home with Tyler or at home in her house, but we see JJ every episode, and that just, it's a red flag in a show like Criminal Minds when you see a lot of a person's home life, because they like to hurt people, and I'm very afraid. Speaking of the home life, Henry growing up is crazy. I have no idea if that is the original actor that used to play Henry and they've brought him back, or whether this is a new kid. But Henry's hair has not changed since he was 5. But 14, I think they said he was. When your kids are becoming young adults, like Henry's not quite a young adult yet, but he's on his way. It is so hard to go from treating them like a little kid that you don't tell anything to and you keep everything from, to then he's gonna find things out, he's gonna know things, and he's gonna assume the worst. So they need to kind of, what JJ should have said when he was asking about, is dad going to be okay? He clearly had heard something, would have been to say, well, we've had a bit of a scare, but I promise you he's okay, and if he wasn't, we would tell you. And then I think he is old enough to hear the reality of what's happening. And yes, it's going to worry him, but it's going to worry him either way. And I think any kid of a kind of law enforcement officer will be at least a little bit afraid that their parents aren't going to come home. And when you know your mother's job is hunting serial killers, you are going to be afraid that she's not going to come home one day. So I think they did their best, they handled it well, but I'm still very afraid for their family. I don't know how the director of the FBI is going to feel when he finds out what they're up to. I mean, there was no reason for the BAU to go to this abduction of a woman, because it was a solitary abduction. She even called the police when they were on the way to say, or like, called off the thing. She just needed some space. She's not missing. Like, there was no reason for the BAU to be involved in the way they were. So the FBI was short, especially when they took the jet. But at the same time, there is so much evidence that it's Sicarius. Are you telling me it's a coincidence that she went missing, and we now know that she did 100% go missing and was 100% abducted, with a guy who called himself Lee from 2nd Street? Then we have her saying, I didn't see his face, but I suppose, is she saying that I suppose the argument there would be that the guy that the cameras just happened to go off for both times, the guy she was showing the property to, wasn't the guy that kidnapped her, somebody else kidnapped her. But, you know, it's very clear that the woman is terrified for good reason and doesn't want to speak, and they need to do something to make her feel safe and secure, and she may never feel safe and secure enough to speak because he threatened her children. And I think I would have found it interesting to see Sicarius when he saw the news that she had been reunited with her family and was safe, because I know he threatened her, I know he threatened her family, but I don't see him as someone who would contentedly let that lie as a loose thread, because if one day she gets brave enough, she can give them a sketch of his face, she can give him details, she can confirm the thing about 2 children, she knows too much, and I don't see him being willing to let her live. So it's going to be interesting to see if he notices, or if he's too wrapped up in trying to fix his marriage to even notice that she's alive. We will see, however. Then we have, I feel like I've missed so many things. I felt very, very sorry for this woman, and I was convinced I wrote her off as dead right at the beginning, and she survived. I'm very happy for her, but I think she's gonna need, I mean, she survived, but she's not okay. She's gonna take her a very long time to leave the place she was in, both the container and then the room with the rope, and all the threats against her family. Especially chilling when you think, like, she's already been harmed by 2 individuals. How could you ever feel confident and safe in your own home again with your own family? Like, anytime one of her kids says, I want to go to a party, I'm going to go out, I'm going to do this, you'd think that there are bad people in the world. I feel so sorry for that woman and how she's ever going to find comfort. I just hope she is able to tell them what she knows about him, able to give a sketch, able to identify a photo when they finally have evidence. I mean, one thing they could do, if she was cooperating, they could get pictures, driver's license pictures of all of the people that the phones matched up to, and then be like, do you recognize this one? Or this one? Or this one? Then we have Rossi. And I'm so sorry if I skipped over big parts of this episode, because I just really want to talk about the ending. Well, first of all, it does seem as though Sicarius is planning to come home and have the, hey honey, I'm a serial killer conversation. Or is he going to come home and tell her a lie? Like, I've just been really struggling with my mental health ever since I lost my job, kind of thing. And he's talked over in his mind, he's done the serial killer confession already, so he doesn't need to worry about doing that twice. Because his wife is in no terms going to take him confessing to being a serial killer well. If she is able to contain herself and her composure in the moment, she can act like she's taking it okay until she gets her kids out of there and runs. But it's going to be added interest because an FBI agent was at the door asking questions about her husband. So she's already going to be in red alert, and I'm very afraid. I'm very afraid for her and his children, because I don't think it is out of the realms of possibility that he wouldn't murder them and then go dark and then disappear again. Because I presume, like, he forged a new identity and a new life once. He could do it again. I'm very concerned he's going to end up killing his wife and children, because we've already seen those moments when he imagines living out his fantasies of murdering people. He's already slipping slightly into making those a reality, because he said, like, I'm sick of this fucking family or whatever in the previous episode, and then doing that, he then imagined shooting them in the heads. Now, he didn't shoot them, but he did say the words, so his control is slipping. It's going to be very interesting to see, and terrifying to see what happens there, especially if she's asking him questions about an FBI agent coming, and I'm very concerned. There are 2 episodes left in the season, things are going to be spiraling. While I think of it, a quick note that I know season 2 starts at the beginning of June, and technically on Patreon I will have finished season 1 when season 2 starts, but I'm going to need to take a 2-week break in the middle of June. It was like, unlike my previous break, it's just a planned break, like a holiday, where I'm going to be kind of getting ahead with scheduled things, but because with Criminal Minds I would have to take a break in the middle. I'm currently planning on Criminal Minds, The Acolyte, and House of the Dragon. That starts during my break. Those 3 shows I'm not going to start until after my break, so that I don't get like a disjointed viewing, so that I can just watch it in one without a break in the middle. That is the plan. So even though I know season 2 is starting, it will be coming, but it will be coming in July most likely, rather than in June when it starts, and I hope that makes sense. But I think when YouTube is getting this episode, it will be out soon. So yeah, very exciting. I will not be seeing any spoilers. I will be avoiding those. So then we have Rossi, and I mean, obviously you'd be like, what are the chances that one of the first people he seems to knock on the door of is Sicarius' family? But it could even be the very first. Like, Sicarius is one of those numbers. The random chance, there is every chance of him being the first or the last. I'm so intrigued with how that conversation is going to go. what he's gonna ask, what she's gonna ask, and like she has noticed her husband's been acting suspiciously. He does meet all of the criteria that Rossi wants to meet. She has never met his family. There'll be so many different things that he will meet if she entertains Rossi. Is she gonna listen? Is she gonna believe that he's a serial killer before he's even home? Or is she gonna shut Rossi out and refuse to believe it and trust in her husband and pretend? It could go 1,000 ways, and I'm so excited by it. You know, I think going door to door is a risky move simply because you're knocking on potential serial killer doors, and we assume the wife doesn't know because she was calling, but maybe she does know. Maybe she's a little mama, like Mrs. Serial Killer. Who knows? I mean, we know she doesn't know, but like Rossi has no way of knowing. Then like also it kind of is alerting Sicarius, attracting his attention. Like it's a risky move, but also given the information they have, it is one of the only ways they're going to have to actually find this man who is hurting these people and bring him to justice. So I'm proud of Rossi. I'm stressed. What a good episode. Reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance. And thank you so much for watching.